Michelle scrambles to post boot camp photos just hours after Melania gets kudos for one thing. Nothing happens in Washington, D.C., by coincidence. When Michelle Obama posted photos of her working out during a weekend boot camp, it unsurprisingly came just on the heels of a very public story about Melana Trump. Michelle talks about having a hard time adjusting to life outside the White House, and when the press gave big kudos to the new First Lady, Michelle countered with the photo spread. "You don't want to miss this.We've seen the Obamas trail the Trumps all around Europe and trying to stay in the limelight, grasping at headlines by stirring up controversy. Now, we have Michelle Obama posting boot camp photos, which is sort of strange. We had no personal photos posted while they were trolling the Trumps in Europe, but now, we have this post by Michelle. If you look at the timeline of events, she posted it immediately after Melania Trump made headlines of her own, and it all starts to make sense." Michelle wrote, "When I was at the White House, I often hosted boot camp weekends for my close girlfriends. Even though I'm no longer at the White House, I've continued this tradition and wanted to share some photos. My girlfriends have been there for me through all kinds of life transitions over the years, including a pretty big one recently." She goes on to post two photos, one of which shows off her arms, which TMZ made sure to mention in their headline, "Michelle Obama, check out my guns." It's obvious Michelle is looking for some attention, and she wants people to see her guns. Well, just hours before Michelle posted her workout pics, here was the big international headline for Melania Trump: "Melania does a pipa. Donald Trump's wife shows off pert bottom and tight dress." From Melania's pert bottom to Michelle's guns, how often are we going to get headlines like this within hours of each other? For those who say there is no way that Michelle would post photos just to throw shade at Melania, think again. Contrary to what the left would have you believe, Michelle Obama isn't a superhero, she's a liberal woman, and like most liberal women, she has issues. Michelle Obama is used to the spotlight, and it must irk her that the woman who replaces her is a model. Michelle has to work out to stop gaining weight, where Melania Trump is one of the lucky ones who probably doesn't have to work at all at staying thin. The liberal media makes comparisons all the time, just like they did on Father's Day. Newsweek made a huge deal out of what type of public Father's Day messages went out, comparing the Obamas and the Trumps, all in an attempt to make the president look bad. In his final press conference as president, Obama says in comments carried by Today, "Every parent brags on their daughters or their sons, but man, my daughters are something. And they just surprise and enchant and impress me more and more every single day," reported Newsweek. They go on to bash Trump, saying, Obama's social media message differed somewhat from that of his predecessor President Donald Trump, who used social media to celebrate his approval rating going up and complained that he was the victim of a witch hunt. The mainstream media constantly looks at any little thing, hoping to make Trump look bad, but if conservative media brings up Michelle or Barack, they freak out, saying how dare we trash-talk the saintly Obamas. As long as the Obamas put themselves in the limelight, they are fair game to report on. Michelle is delusional if she thinks posting pics of her guns won't get some blowback from Trump supporters or that her arms will take attention away from Melania's pert bum. No one twisted her arm to post those pics, and there's little doubt it was in response to the press calling Melania's bottom pert. So, if Michelle wants to have a look at me post on social media, she opened herself up to the critiques of it. Michelle is wishing she was back in power and seeing the poised, graceful Melania take her place has got to be tough, there's no doubt about that. Please share the story and tell us what you think by clicking one of the buttons below. We want to hear your voice.